Kelly asked if I'd run a water line over to the berry patch for the drip line. Thought that if I was going to do that, it made sense to also run a water line to the barn while I'm at it. And maybe another faucet for the grass area in front of the barn would be a good idea. This project kept getting bigger by the second. Six years ago, when I poured the concrete floor in the barn, I set a water line in place, capped both ends, and buried it. I was pretty excited to be able to find it again. For the drip line, I thought I would put a PVC valve in an irrigation box in the ground, which would keep it from freezing in the winter. I have other irrigation boxes in my lawn and on the farm, and they're constantly getting filled in with dirt by gophers and moles. So we've gotten into the habit of always making a plate for the bottom and sides to fully enclose the box. And then drilling a hole the exact size of the PVC pipe for the entry. I've opened these up before, and they've been completely filled in with dirt. It amazes me that the moles can find the opening like that. I started gluing the 20-foot sections of 3/4 inch PVC together, first going out towards the new faucet for the grass area in front of the barn. I glued on a hose bib down inside the box that we can attach a garden hose to if we want to use it. Then I started working towards the berry patch, tying into the barn along the way. When I was running the trencher, I found the buried 4-inch main line for the field, which needed to be fixed now. I had no idea this is where it was, and it was this shallow. Now I know, I guess. I glued on one side, and then a metal dressler slips over the gap and tightens down on the rubber gaskets with bolts. I was really lucky the pump wasn't running when I hit it. That would have been a nice shower for me. With that all patched up, I could get back to running the 3/4 inch for the drip lines. I put another irrigation box with the valve at the top, which is how we will turn on the drip lines. Then, following the valve, I teed off for each of the raised beds. It's hard to tell, but it's on a hill, and at the bottom of the hill, I put a second valve that we can use to drain the drip section in the winter. I drilled a bunch of drain holes in the bottom cover of this one, and filled in around it with big gravel. We don't get any crazy cold temperatures here, usually no colder than like the low 20s at the worst. But we do still need to take precautions to keep our faucets and water lines on the farm from freezing and cracking. This faucet I didn't set up very well when I originally installed it, and I usually just have to make sure it's continually dripping when we have a cold spell, which is a pain. I've forgotten, and I've had to replace it before. I thought this was the right time to change it over to something better. And that's where the sponsor of this video comes in, Aquor. Aquor makes really nice freeze-proof stainless valves that mount recessed inside your wall. And I was super excited to be able to use a couple of them on this project. I won't have to worry about remembering to let the faucet drip when the temperatures drop, because I was going to be able to move the water line and valve into the inside of the wall and away from the freezing temperatures. I got the valve set in place, ran the new water lines to it, and threw some insulation around the pipe for a little extra security. In my situation, there was going to be a couple inches of pipe exposed going up the outside of the wall. So I cut a bigger pipe in half lengthwise to use as a cover, and filled it with some spray foam. Then I put the metal siding back on. I loved how clean the new valve looked. It was very minimal. I read that these valves are marine grade and get used on sailboats a lot, which is really cool. I also learned that the water pressure itself helps seal the valve and keep it closed, guaranteeing a leak-free outlet. I really appreciate Aquor's support, and I'm really excited to use their great products on this project, and encourage you to check them out if you're someone like me that might forget to winterize things on occasion. Thanks, Aquor. I also wanted to install a hose reel next to the faucet, which are super handy. I shut the water off at our pump and plumbed into the line going out to the barn and berry patch, along with the new Aquor valve. The next day, I got to work running the water lines in the barn. The line comes into the barn in the small room under the stairs, which I hope to turn into a bathroom one day. I ran a line for the future toilet and sink, and then ran it through the wall into the back area of the barn, where the CNC table is. I'm really excited to have a faucet back here to fill the water table. Currently, I have to run a bunch of garden hoses from way over by the house, which is a real pain. I switched over to PEX lines in the barn, which is pretty easy to work with and quick with crimp connectors. It's nice not having to wait for the glue to dry, like you do with PVC. At the end of the line, I wanted to install one more water valve to be accessed from the outside of the barn for Kelly's garden area. I milled some UHMW to match the shape of the metal siding on the outside, which would give me a flat surface to mount the valve to. One piece will go on the inside and the other on the outside, sandwiching the siding in place. You hold it like right in the center. Up a little bit. Yeah, right there. Okay, I think that's it. They'll stay put now. Plastic piece I made that fits the shape of the tin. I couldn't figure out how to mount this. I needed a flat surface to mount it to. And then there's one on the inside that's the opposite shape, and they lock together. Nice. Like it's really nice and solid. That's caulking in there. I got the PEX attached to the Aquor valve and crimped down, and then threw some insulation on around this line as well. Attaching one more hose reel was the last job on this project. I turned the water line back on at the pump and was excited to see there weren't any leaks. Except coming out of the drip hose and sprinklers, or was meant to, of course.